Alright guys, welcome back. So we're looking at Feral DPS in Phase 5 and what gear you want. So I'm not going to go too much over the bits that were already BiS in Phase 1, 2, 3, 4. You know, I'm just going to assume you're pretty much full BiS in Phase 4. So what in Phase 5 do you want? So we're going to be looking mainly at AQ, obviously, but I will touch on other bits that are from other places, obviously. So before we get too far, if you don't know, I stream over on Twitch pretty much 7 days a week at the moment, to be fair, but it will cut down to Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Mondays, with Saturday being an extra long stream. So I normally start on a Saturday at 9 AM and I go till I pass out, which is normally quite good fun. So if you don't follow me over there, obviously pop over, get involved with the banter. It's just a great community that's growing over there as well as on YouTube. So thank you for all your support on both platforms. Really, really appreciate it. If you like the video, obviously give it a like. If you're not subscribed, please subscribe. Just click that button. One click, but keeps the channel growing, keeps the content coming, and you're not going to miss it. And ultimately, it puts you in for the giveaway, chance at the giveaway. So next one's at 5K subscribers. Already done the 1K subscriber giveaway, and I'm doing monthly giveaways over on Twitch as well. I think I've already given away on Twitch somewhere around 60, 70 quid's worth of Amazon vouchers, something like that, just over the past few weeks, or maybe a month. So going really well. Keep it going strong. So say like, subscribe, pop over on Twitch, come and give us a follow. So for those who have been watching me a while, and maybe even back to sort of the Phase 1 BiS list that I've done, the videos have evolved since then, so this one's going to be slightly different, hopefully for the better. Hope you enjoy it, obviously. So we're going to start just by looking at some of the gear that you're not going to be replacing. So the gear that was BiS in Phase 4 and still is BiS now. But there may be some items that I don't mention. There might be items in AQ40 that I don't mention and you think, oh, actually, that's an upgrade for me. Might be an upgrade, but I'm doing this as a whole package. So I'm doing a full BiS list, you know, meaning you're going to be hit capped, you're going to have good amounts of crit, good amounts of attack power. So you can't take it on an item by item basis, even though they probably will be an upgrade on an individual basis, but it's the overall package that we're interested in. So if we start with the items that haven't changed, so manual crowd pummeler, I know, shocker. Yes, you're still going to be farming Gnomeregon half of your life, unfortunately. It's just too good. It's just too good. There is an alternative, which we'll get into soon. And when I say alternative, it's going to be a DPS loss, but it might be good just for trash or dungeons or whatever. You probably know what it is already, but we'll get into that soon. Then we've got the neck, so Prestor's Talisman from Florian, still BiS. You're going to be using this pretty much till TBC, to be fair. 1% hit, 30 agility. Obviously, it's an absolute beast of a neck. So there is an alternative in AQ40, but ultimately, we're talking what's the full BiS that you're going to want to use. This neck still remains one of them. So the PvP legs, the epic PvP legs, still remain BiS throughout all of Phase 5. There is an alternative that I'm going to give you, which is only a blue. You can buy it off the auction house, in fact. You might want to use that if you're not pushing ranks or you haven't pushed ranks in the past. But ultimately, BiS is still the PvP legs. And then rings. So rings, you're still going to be using Band of Acuria, which is from Ragnaros, and Circle of Applied Force, which is from Blackwing Lair, obviously. So you'll still be using both of these if you've got them. There are alternatives. There's so many rings that you can use, but ultimately for this setup of gear that we're going to be using, these are the two rings that I would recommend personally. And surprise, surprise, DFT, Drakefang Talisman, still BiS Trinket. So this is going to be BiS into Burning Crusade. You'll probably even use it for a little while in Burning Crusade, to be honest with you, because it is just that good. So if you haven't got it already, make sure you try and pick it up as soon as possible. Make them understand the power of Feral DPS. You know, show them that you deserve it. Try and get hold of this as soon as possible. So going on to the good stuff, or what I consider the good stuff anyway. So let's just start with the obvious one. Oh, I say it's obvious. It might be obvious. It might not to some people. But you get the Scottejaye Regalia, which basically you hand in just around Twin Emps. So it's quite far into the raid, to be fair. But it gives you the weapon in return, which is the Warhammer, the Feral Warhammer, we'll call it. It's really nice, don't get me wrong. But obviously, you're going to want to get hold of it, is what I'm saying. You're going to want to get hold of it. But ultimately, you're still going to be using manual crowd pummeler, but you're probably not using charges of manual crowd pummeler on trash. So this would be brilliant with a nice offhand, you know, the 8 all stats offhand, and this will be perfectly good, well, better than what you're using for trash anyway. You know, it is a very nice weapon, but even in 5-mans, you're probably not pumping with manual crowd pummelers, you know, procs, charges used, whatever you want to say, in 5-man dungeons. So, you know, this again, it's good for when you're doing 5-mans or doing trash or farming, whatever. It's really nice and you want to get hold of it, it's solid. But as I say, you're going to have to clear to Twin Emps to be able to actually hand this in. So now with the juicy new stuff, let me introduce Prophet Skerum. So the reason I'm bringing him on is because he's the guy we're going to kill to get our first item. So if you're going in to Phase 5 already in BiS, you're probably using Cloak of Draconic Might at the moment, which I'll put on screen. You can replace that now which is nice. You know, you're going to replace this from Prophet Scarab. Really nice. The stats speak for itself, really, innit? You know, you're losing 5 strength, but gaining, you know, a boatload of stamina, 1% hit, and you're going to need the 1% hit. Because as I say, we're going to be using a lot of trifactor stats. By that, I mean 3 primary stats on you. So stamina, agility, strength is what we're looking for. We're going to be using a lot of those, and not all of them come with hit. So we need to get to the 9% hit, and this cape is going to help us get there. So you definitely want to try and get hold of this as soon as possible, and as it is only from the first boss. So now the 3 little bugs, or they're not so little, if I'm honest with you. But yeah, so the 3 little bugs consist of your Yorge, Kree, and Vem. So there's only really one item that you're going to want from here, and that's the chest, being Vest of Swift Execution. Odds are you're probably using Malfurion's chest from Blackwing Lair, which is very nice on its own, but obviously this chest is a lot better, and you definitely want to try and get your hands on this. However, it's not just the chest that this boss drops. So it also drops a nice pair of nature resist hands. Obviously, it's not great. You know, it's not going to be like part of your max DPS gear, but certainly for the fights where you need some nature resistance, probably, you know, be worthwhile just keeping these in the bag. So next from Battleguard Satura, an actual proper pair of gloves that haven't got nature resistance on, but you're going to want to use. So they've got a nice amount of strength, good amount of agility. I mean, piss poor amount of stamina, if I'm honest with you, but it's better than nothing. But it's also got the 1% hit that we're going to need. Like I say, we're going to get a 9% hit cap from using all this gear, and this is you know, a contributing piece of gear to that 9% hit. I mean, at this moment in time, you might be using the PvP gloves, possibly Devil Saw. But, you know, this is an upgrade over all of that. These are going to serve you really, really well. Great pair of gloves. So there is one other item here that's quite interesting, the Badger the Swarm Guard. It's a nice trinket, don't get me wrong. It's going to be something you want to get hold of, but you're only going to use it on certain fights. So really high armor fights, or, I mean, I don't really want to talk about pre-raid BiS and keep mentioning dungeons, but, you know, in a 5-man, if you're just doing a dungeon and you haven't got a warrior with Sunder armor tanking, you might have a feral bear or whatever. You might just want the extra armor pen, whereas obviously most of the bosses are getting close to 0 with the amount of armor reduction effects we use anyway. So there's going to be very limited fights you would use this, but certainly on high armor fights, it's still going to be worth having in your arsenal. Now from Fankris, you absolutely want these shoulders, and it's one of those trifactor stat pieces that I was talking about earlier. If you don't like PvP and Classic, or haven't been PvP and pushing ranks to get the gear, you're probably still using True Strike shoulders, I would say, for the majority of people out there. If you have been PvP, and then you're probably using the AB shoulders or the rank 13 shoulders. I mean, these shoulders from this boss obviously blow all of that out of the water anyway, so you definitely want to get your hands on these. And then you might look at these boots. So there is a pair of boots that drop from Fankris as well, but if you actually look at them and compare the stats, so I'll put both sets of boots that I'm going to talk about on screen. On the Fankris boots, they've got high armor, high stamina, so they are geared more towards a bear tank, obviously. Whereas if you look at ones from AQ20, from Rajax, I mean, they're so much better, and they're only from AQ20. So you're actually going to get a better leather pair of boots from the 20-man rather than the 40-man, which is nice. Makes things a bit easier. We've got to jump all the way forward to Twin Emps now. Now, I couldn't put a nice model of Twin Emps on because they was really buggy for some reason, and I didn't like the visual. So these are a bit like the shoulders, really, where if you haven't been PvPing, you've probably still been stuck with one item since Phase 1, which you'd probably be using the bracers, stability bracers from Molten Core. If you have been PvPing, you know, the PvP bracers, obviously, but the majority of people are probably still using the Molten Core bracers, like I am, because I don't PvP. These are very, very nice, obviously. You got a good balance of strength, agility, stamina, and the much-needed 1% hit, obviously, to take us to the cap. So you're absolutely going to want these. As I say, from Twin Emperors, though, so, you know, not a pushover of a fight. It's a bit further in, but once you've got it down, you know, you're going to be laughing if you can get hold of these bracers. And there's not going to be too much competition on them, hopefully. Then the big boy himself, Cthulhu, or Seafun, or Cthun, or whatever you want to call him. I don't really care. But that guy who's the last boss. Belt of Never-Ending Agony. Absolutely banging. You absolutely want to get this belt. This is actually going to finish off your 9% hit. And you get the crit, and you get the attack power, nice amount of stamina, armor, all the stuff that we don't really care about. You know, we're in it for the hit, crit, and attack power, obviously. But absolutely amazing. This is going to last you a long time, and you're probably replacing your, I don't know, Zolgara belt, maybe? I would imagine. Probably the ZG belt. And now the last item. So very last item. I know there's not really like all phases when it comes to Feral. There's not normally that much you need to try and go out and get. The majority of your gear from the last phase is still going to be good. The Trinket, Earthshaker, really nice. You want to use this alongside your Drakefang Talisman. Now this isn't an AQ40 or AQ20. It's to do with the Cenarian circle, I nearly said expedition, I've been playing too much TBC, Cenarian circle rep, I'll just put the quest that it comes from on screen. You'll have to look at what you need to do, but you need to be exalted with Cenarian circle before you can even do it, and a bunch of other things beforehand. So obviously part of that is nothing to do with this video. I'm just telling you the gear. You go out, you know, with this trinket specifically, work out how to get it. But it's not that difficult, to be fair. It's just a bit grindy, like everything in Classic. And that about wraps it up, to be fair. I don't want to drag it on too long. Want to let you know where you're going to get the items from and what items you're going to want. So you're full BiS in Phase 5 by the time Phase 6 comes and you're ready to go into Nax being an absolute beast. So again, if you like the video, give it a like. If you hated it, then don't worry about it. Just don't come and watch me again. But hopefully you didn't. And obviously, if you're not subscribed, then subscribe. Plenty of videos coming for Classic, TBC looking forward. Plenty of other stuff. So, yeah, peace out.